how's it going? I'm Chris and welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be the first video and first review. It's going to be on the Xbox PC exclusive, The Medium. The Medium is a psychological horror based game that's focused on our world and the spiritual world. What's really cool about this game is you're not just playing one part, going into the horror game, just waiting for jump scares. You're actually able to go into the spirit world where extra things happen, where you're able to progress more in the story. There's some doors you can go through in the regular world, but then there's some that you can't go in the spirit world, and vice versa. So in the spirit world, you would see that the doorway, it would be completely passable, but in the real world you'll see that the door is completely locked, you can't go through, you need a key or something. Or there's some other parts where you would need to get through by accessing some power, or you need to go through a whole bunch of bugs, which in case is part of the villain. So first off, I absolutely love the Medium. Amazing game. Love the horror. Also, it was really fun that it's like no HUD, so no heads up display, nothing really showing around. It's just all gameplay. You get to see everything that's going on. So the best way I can simplify the game is you're a medium that get called up, need help, you go to the hotel, clean house of all the bad spirits, let a whole bunch of good spirits go, get to the big baddie, run from the big baddie, and then a lot more creepy shit, and then you finally beat the big baddie, and then, well, you don't really beat the big baddie. It's kind of like you figured out what's going on and then you deal with it in your own way. Well, in Lillian's way, because damn, no spoilers, damn. So some of the first things that I love about the game is just the idea of seeing the regular world and seeing the supernatural world side by side. There's not a game that I can think of where you're literally seeing two worlds at the same time, and you're also how it affects each world as well. So in the normal world you could be solving a puzzle, but in the spiritual world it'll also be showing like completely something else, and see like day turn to night. It's awesome. So there is very cool aspects of the game where you're able to pick up certain objects, look into it, look for a little shiny spot on it. So you would twirl like a shoe or a piece of cloth or something and look for a little shiny spot and wait until the controller starts vibrating a lot more, and you would be able to hear an audio, a past memory basically. It would be a past memory of whoever it was connected to, since what they say in the psychic world that people are able to leave their presence on objects or on certain people or possessions. So overall, where the powers was used is you're basically charging up to get away from certain creatures, or you're using the light shield to get away from bugs to go through the area. And so there is like charging stations where you would be able to charge your ability for like the light shield, or like blasting some areas away, since it does deplete each time you use it. So in the spirit world it'll literally just look like a fountain with light going all around it, but in the real world you'll just see like it would show a real world item. So some areas, well, one area it showed like the globe and you would basically move it around, or in some areas you would have to put it on a flower, or you would have to piece things together, then it would be able to use it as the recharge station. So it wouldn't just be like, oh yeah, walk up to it, start charging. No, you would have to attach stuff to it to make it connect to that person, to give it that spiritual energy to charge your powers. And then there's also the mechanic where you're cutting through. Well, it's not really a mechanic, it's like a tool where you have to cut through the levels, and you're cutting through, looks like leather, but it's not really leather. You get closer and then it's like, oh, it's skin from a whole bunch of bodies. Then that's pretty creepy, and then when you're cutting you feel the vibrations on the controller. It's great. But basically throughout the game, you're going to be coming across this Slenderman looking thing. It's going to be pretty crazy. You're going to be able to see it in the spiritual world, but it's also able to follow you back into the real world, crossing through the mirrors. And the mirror is basically like a teleporter for the spirits to pass through, for spirits or yourself, since you will be passing through back and forth, since there are some aspects of the game where you need to be only in the spiritual realm, since in the real realm you can only do certain things, so you would need to go into your spiritual form and just walk around, go through some certain parts of the hotel, stuff like that. So for a horror game, it was pretty fun. It was dramatic. There was lots of things going on. I absolutely loved the gameplays, the details in all the areas. So in the rooms, there was all like dirty or spider webs, or it was just all moldy, destructed. It looked great. There were some areas where you were able to see like dead bodies, but in the spiritual world you would go through like a hallway and you would see all these faces like just piled on. And there were some areas where people were basically mummified to walls, and you would have to attach like bits and pieces of the masks or the full mask to let the spirit go on to the afterlife and pass on. The reason why I absolutely love the game is because it gives you so much background into the history of the game. So when you're going throughout the world, you'll see like little postcards, or you'll see the little past memories on certain items where you would just go use your psychic abilities and basically hear what they were saying last. And it basically gives you an idea of what was going on in the surroundings before the whole entire collapse of the hotel. So overall, the game wasn't too long. It seemed like around 12, maybe 10 hours. But I do take my time on games, so I do play like games from 2 hours at a time, maybe an hour at a time, just depending on how I'm feeling on that game. But with the medium, I was able to do like 3-4 hours, like no problem. Especially since I play with my headphones on horror games, blast up the sounds, turn off the lights. It's awesome. So I did play the system on the Xbox Series S. It looked like it was around like 1080, going around 30 frames a second, maybe even 60. I can't really tell. But basically, it looked really good. It also had qualities of ray tracing, since you're able to see it through, see reflections through the glass, you're able to see reflections in the puddle. But it didn't seem like too high quality, just looked like a basic 1080 game. But ran really good on my Xbox. Didn't hear like ramp up. It just felt warm coming out of the Xbox. Of course, is an Xbox Series S running and basically a game for PC and the Xbox Series X. But overall, it ran great on my Series S. But until next time, please subscribe, follow. So until next time, goodbye.